So I've been at Yahoo for about 3 years. I'm currently a Senior Director of Product Management for the Cloud and Big Data Platforms. It's a pleasure speaking with you here. When you think about cloud at Yahoo, or perhaps any other consumer internet company that operates at web scale or the scale we operate at, obviously one of the first things you would think about is scale. And some of the other things that come to mind, if you ask us or the people across Yahoo, it would be service, would be an attribute that would come to people. Service level agreement, SLA or latency is another thing that would come to mind, and then performance. So these are the types of attributes that people would associate to cloud computing, right? Ease of use of consuming technology, expectations around services. Those are the types of things that would come to people's mind, or our developers' mind, because it's a private cloud. Our services are for internal consumption to Yahoo's and Yahoo developers. So the products and applications that we host, or the platform services that we provide to our developers are for our developers, and our applications. So Yahoo Mail, some of our mobile applications, search, and all kinds of other things we do, or the businesses we operate in, is what our cloud is supposed to serve or expected to serve. We don't offer retail services to, let's say, consumers outside of Yahoo or our publishers or anybody else. So that's what I mean by private cloud. It's really, in my mind, the stacks and the technologies that we put together are more or less the same as, let's say, a leading public cloud. But the primary difference here is what we focus on versus what they focus on. And the second is that it's not a retail service in any sense. The IP space is private. Not just Hadoop, but if you think about the big data space, we have all kinds of other services now that either run on the same Hadoop infrastructure like Storm or Spark. We have introduced those years ago, at least a couple of years ago, when it came to Storm, and now have some of the largest clusters for streaming technologies and other things. So it's not just Hadoop anymore, and that's why I like to call it now Hadoop and Big Data Platforms as our group. And then when you come to more traditional cloud services, which are beyond big data, particularly on the serving side, a lot of it is infrastructure services. So we orchestrate that through OpenStack. We're a Gold Foundation member of the OpenStack consortium. I talk about storage services, both structured and unstructured services. We also talk about hosted search service, dynamic serving, something that we're pretty proud of, or is really essential to a consumer web company, is the serving stack. So we have orchestrated the full serving stack through our cloud services. We have a set of shared services like messaging across applications, across data centers, hosted messaging services, monitoring services. So a lot, and complete edge services like suite of video hosting service, dynamic streaming. We have our own CDN. We have our own cloud proxy infrastructure. So it's a full suite of service. Just as you may look at, let's say, something else which is more transparent to people outside, like Amazon Web Services, and if you look at their suite of services, our suite of services look exactly the same. So we live and die distributed computing. And we're the ones who are building, let's say, the Hadoops, the Hive, the HBase, and things like those for our company, right? As well as contributing to the open source community across all of these technologies. So for us, it's extremely important. But for a user of HBase, for a user of Hadoop, it may or may not be equally important. For them, I guess what's more important to know is the capabilities of these platforms, rather than what underlying algorithm does the storage technology is based off of. So I'll give you a good example. We have a storage system called Sherpa. Sherpa is based off of a work that was done out of Yahoo Labs a long time ago, and it was one of the largest NoSQL installs anywhere in the world at that time. It's called Peanuts. Now Sherpa also uses some of the LSM technologies, and LSM's common across, let's say, Sherpa and HBase. Now, does a person outside of our platforms organization need to know about these things? I'm not quite sure. What they ought to be worried about is like, what's my read latency, what's my write latency, what's my read throughput, what's my write throughput if I'm using this storage system versus that storage system. Is this optimal for my use case? Is that optimal for my use case? And I think we help our customers a lot in making those decisions. But at the same time, I think customers ought to be smart enough to disseminate the nuances between, a million different DBs and NoSQL stacks out there. Yeah, I think we have a philosophy. I mean, we both contribute heavily to the open source technologies. We have open sourced a lot of our own technologies for the benefit of the community, Hadoop being one that we open sourced in 2009, which is probably one of the most successful, I would say, stories that Yahoo has as far as open source is concerned. ATS is another one, Apache Traffic Server, which was earlier Inktomi Traffic Server, later became. And that's widely used across companies that operate in the cloud computing space. We're doing a lot of work in open source as well on technologies that were not developed at Yahoo. So I'll give you an example, like Storm, like Spark, like HBase, like Hive. A lot of these were not invented at Yahoo, right? So we brought them from outside, and we contribute a lot to those as well. We have done pretty, I would say, important work when it comes to HBase in terms of developing multi-tenancy and security, and types of things that Yahoo needs, types of things that our customers need from the platform. We've gone ahead and built those in these open source technologies that were brought from outside, and we're in the process of, or have already contributed a lot of that back to the community. So I think the philosophy really is about what's useful for Yahoo, be it the decision of open sourcing something that we have developed or bringing something from outside and contributing to it. And it works both ways. But really the essential idea behind making that decision is to how it's going to benefit Yahoo. And then how it's going to benefit the community, and what would be the impact to Yahoo as well as the technology landscape in a longer term. The question can be answered, again, as I said earlier to you, in two different sort of realms. The enterprises think about cloud in somewhat different way, particularly in the industry, as we, the web scale cloud consumer internet companies, think about cloud. And I think if you ask those people, like the enterprise-centric people about cloud, they would talk about the debate between public and private cloud, and how everything is evolving as a hybrid model where workloads can seamlessly transfer on and off premise. They would talk about things like multi-cloud and private and members cloud, and all kinds of other notions around how the cloud services, the public cloud services, will be consumed by the enterprises, the security models and things like that. And I think the general consensus is this hybrid model is how it's going to evolve into. But again, a very services-centric view, not a technology-centric view. As far as technology itself is concerned, obviously a company that operates in that space will promote its own technology and agenda, a long-term view of how things are going to evolve. Some would say it's all going to be open, or based on OpenStack, or based on something else. Somebody will have some other notion. But as far as Yahoo is concerned and where things are headed, I think we will continue to focus on things that we're focused on today. In my opinion, that battle will never cease. And I think one of the primary battles we have in this space is around latency. Everything we do within the data center all the way to the end customer, really reducing that serving time from when the request was made to when the response was served, is something we're going to continue to focus on across our stack, across our services. I don't think that'll ever go away, or that focus will ever go away. This notion of instantaneous response, you click something and you have the answer, that'll never go away. So our technologies, our services will continue to focus on that. We will continue to refine our SLAs that we make with our customers around throughput, around latencies, and they are going to stay as our focus. I also think that from a technology standpoint, there is a blurring of boundaries between the backstage infrastructure or platform as well as the serving infrastructure platform, and they are now sort of converging, right? So Hadoop was sort of our asynchronous processing platform. We had a bunch of proprietary technologies in the serving stack, and as you can see, a lot of these are now merging, right? People are demanding real-time responses from Hadoop type infrastructure, as well as people are expecting more and more deep edge capabilities, deep analytics capabilities right at the edge with the advent of Internet of Things, and that's not quite possible given the size and the processing power of these edge devices. So I think there is a lot of blurring of this boundary between asynchronous processing and serving infrastructure, and I think technologies will evolve in both of these spaces that will try to do more of both. So integrating analytics on the edge where you can't send everything back to the data center and expect real-time response back to the edge. Those types of things will not happen. So you will develop newer types of capabilities. As I said, our cloud covers everything from the edge back to the data center. So there will be a lot of invention, a lot of, I would say, evolution of technologies that we use today, both in our video infrastructure and CDN, object CDN infrastructure will evolve a lot to take care of things like the evolution of Internet of Things and other things. And as we as consumer internet company latches onto some of those, so it's 5 to 10 years is definitely going to be extremely exciting. That is all I can say. This space has myriads of possibilities where things will head. But one thing I can say with confidence is that it will be extremely interesting. Absolutely, and not just again Yahoo. I would say it's the platforms, the cloud platforms, the foundation of any consumer web company. I mean, not just for Yahoo. In many cases, platforms and technologies become competitive advantage. And so the usage of cloud, the importance of cloud, the importance of platforms have not gone down. It's only becoming more and more important as we try to bring more, I would say, innovative user experiences, mobile experiences out in their market at a quicker pace. The role of platform only I would say increases. So it actually helps us get things out in the market faster. And that's exactly what we're focused on right now in terms of delivering new and interesting user experiences that, as we call as, will become the daily habits of people. And the importance of cloud, the importance of platform, it has really, really increased. It has not gone down. So for me, the whole platform space, the cloud, the big data space was very interesting. So when I was making the transition into Yahoo, that was the space I wanted to get into. So I was somewhat domain-centric, less company-focused. And I got all of that. I got to do all of that. I got to work in cloud. I got to work at scale. That is unbelievable. We have, give or take how you define the users, 800 to a billion unique users, and that drives a lot of interesting scale challenges on the technology side, on the platform side. You get to see all of that. The other interesting thing I find, which keeps me extremely happy here, is this idea of, so when it comes to big data or Hadoop, I mean, this was the birthplace of Hadoop, right? So you have a very strong development team that has, let's say, more than 50% of its members as committers or PMCs in leadership roles in the open source community. So they control a lot of, what happens in the open source community. So it's always interesting to work with them on the development side. And then we also have one of the world's largest footprints in the world when it comes to the infrastructure itself and the services we offer to rest of Yahoo. Pretty much the entire business runs on the platform. So you get to see both these sides at the same place, in the same job, which is pretty exciting. So that to me has been invaluable. I don't think I'm going to get that in a pure software distribution house or in a pure public cloud company. Over here, I think I get to see both all the engineering and development aspects of the technology as well as the services aspect when you deploy a lot of what we develop on one of the world's largest private cloud infrastructures. So no issues, no complaints.